Alright, so I'm finally going to record my art process while showing my face. Hello. And I'm going to work on another one of these card artworks for the Legion spaceship that I called BABEL. And it should be pretty cool. I'm going to get my reference image. Let's see. So we've got this one that I was working on yesterday. I finished it, so I'm going to draw another one of these tower sections of the spaceship. And we're going to see how that can turn out. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up here. And I'm just going to have that be a happy little fella up there. Now I'm going to make a new document. Actually, no, I'm not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take different artwork and just import it and then draw on top of it. Or just delete everything except for one of these layers so that I keep the same dimensions. There we go. We got this really nice background. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a new layer and then just delete the old one. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take dark color that's like an almost black. I tend to prefer like a purplish color for outer space. And then just take the paint bucket and go right on top of that. And then I like to make a new layer on top of it. Sometimes go for a more bluish color. And then I'm going to look through my brushes over here. Got this huge collection of free brushes that I've been grabbing. And they're all amazing. Let's see which ones we can use. I like to get, these are the default ones here, I like to get a good splatter kind of brush to start with, you know, like a foundation. There we go. Set up your zones that you want things to really just be in. I'm going to do a completely different angle this time for the ship. I'm going to get a blurring brush. I've got a few different ones, but I really have been liking this one in particular called the Circle Blend. You can really just blend the different color tones together extremely well. It gets kind of like a solid edge to it, which I like. And then I'll also mix it with this charcoal brush here that is also for color blending. And you can really get a good mixture of the two with that going. Get some very powerful mixes of color shades. So here we go. I'm just gonna do a bit of that, and then I'm gonna start tossing some star clusters in there. Gotta love that outer space. There we go. The cool thing about space to me is that with art you can just make it however you want it. You're completely free. Alright, let's see what I want to put in here. I'm going to look through the bigger list again. I grabbed this one here. It's like a pixely brush. It seems very good for just like adding a large cluster of stars. So I'm going to do that, but I might add it as a layer with a layer modifier on it. I like this heat glow and freeze reflect hybrid that Krita has. I'm sure other software like Clip Studio also have basically that, if not exactly that. I'm gonna have a variable size here so that I can make some more wispy clusters, thicken it in certain areas, get it just really looking celestial. There we go. Just get it in a nice little contour. And then we'll go bigger again up here. Thicken them in the corner. And then just tap very lightly through the rest of the area. There we go, that's looking good already. But what we're going to do is we're going to have it looking even better. I'm going to put another layer in. Put my personal favorite layer style, hard light. Now it takes color and really just mashes it into the other ones. So I'm going to look through. I'm going to grab one of these kind of brushes. It's really just like a tough brush. We're just gonna do like this and just put some like ribbons of color in here. And later I'm gonna add a planet. So now what I can do with this is I'm gonna go back to my personal collection, the ones I use the most, and I'm going to take this blur brush, smudge stump, and this one really makes it into practically a gradient of smoothing. There we go. So you can really just make it feel like it's pure energy. I love my energy brushes. There we go. Yeah, this is looking pretty insane already for having only spent a few minutes on it. With good brushes, you can just do practically anything. I have been loving it lately. There we go. So yeah, that looks awesome. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to go ahead and add the planet. All I got to do is either make just a white or black shape, or just whatever color you want. Might even use like hot pink for the example. Yeah, just whatever. And just pick a really fine tipped brush. It's about like a pen. And just draw your circle. I'm going to get it to be the exact same width and height. There we go. I forgot to set it to fill. Alright, I'm going to go to my tool options. And where it says not filled, I'm going to change it to foreground color. I believe you can actually lock the width and height. Let's see, yeah. You can just make it automatically place one of that exact size. And so because I've just learned that, I'm actually going to go in and put one that's, say, 150 pixels instead of 400. That way we get some size variation. Yeah, there we go. So we got some different planets here. I'm actually going to grab this one, move it up here because I don't like it being down there. So I'm going to put our spacecraft here. There we go. And then, one thing that I learned from a YouTube video a while back is I can right click my layer, go to group, and then quick clipping group. and it lets you do the layer clipping, which is something I did a lot on Ibis, but I could not figure out how to do it on Krita, so I had to just watch a tutorial on it. But I'm glad I did, because once you learn it, it's really hard to unlearn it, so now I just know how to do this correctly. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have a blue planet up here, like our own planet, Earth. And we're going to have let's make it a really weird gas giant. Make this strange green gas giant. And then over here we're going to have a more rocky, dark brown, like slate brown kind of planet. And then later I'm going to put extra color in front of them. I might even put like some Saturn rings on this one here. I think that would look good. So for this one, I'm going to take and grab a cloud brush. If I can find it. Here, I'm actually going to move this up. I may have almost found it. Yep, there it is. It's from a completely separate brush pack, but they're equally amazing. I'm going to shrink it down a bit and just start drawing on the patterns I want. Thin that brush more. Get some good stripes on there. Follow the rotation angle. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another layer. I'm going to make this one an addition layer so that it'll be a lot brighter. I'm going to go for more of a blue with this one. Go a little crazy. And of course up the size. Forgot to hit the alpha channel lock button. This little A. That makes it be a clipping layer no matter what. We're going to go all crazy with this planet here. Now I'm going to I'm actually going to add this one to my little tag that I get to more quickly. And then I'm going to take my smudge brush, really get them colors in there. There we go. Ooh. Yeah, that looks that looks good already. That looks really good. And then we can add yet another layer. I'm going to make it a darker color. We're going to get some like weird red-purple shading. And I'm just going to use this brush that spreads the color on very well, because what I'm going to do after that is I'm just going to get it in there like this. Get it looking all dusty, musty planet. Yeah, oh man, that looks really good. That planet looking clean. Alright, so yeah, I guess now I'll just go to this other one, and I can use the layers we already have. I'm going to take... We're going to start with the heat glow and freeze hybrid one. Get a little brown color in here. I'm actually going to start with the charcoal because this is already near perfect. We're going to go to another layer of it. Now I'm going to go even darker with it. And really just tap that in there. And I'm going to zoom in further to try to get like some crater shapes. Get really some like personality on the surface of this thing. actually give it an identity. That way from a distance it looks legit. I'm going to shrink this brush down and actually really get some like cuts in the surface of this thing. Yeah, this is starting to look like some real dirt and rocks, some actual grit, some realism. Get it up on the side here for a more smooth, spherical appearance. And that planet may as well be done, because once you zoom out it looks pretty real. Then we got one more up here. Let's actually make this one just be a basic water planet. Like, who cares, bro? Like, come on, just make the water planet, bro. So what I'm gonna do for this one, I can edit the video into it. Hello, brother.
Hello, brother.
I've actually... It's going well. I've been actually talking, even though it's just a recording, so I can just, like, edit it later. But I've had to really get the mic to work, because at first it just wasn't.
The microphone.
The microphone. But, yeah, I've got this little gas giant, and I've got this little Mars-like rusty looking planet, and then here I'm gonna make just a straight up water planet.
Cool.
Thank you. And on top of that I'm going to put a one of these, but from a completely different angle, so that I'm like, you know, you can tell them apart, because they look different enough. But I wanted to have them be like different names, so that you can actually put more of the same thing in your deck. Or in your Ox deck, I doubt it.
Oh, I should note. Ox deck units are exempt from the name thingy, from the name limitation thingy.
Oh!
Yeah. Also, these wouldn't count as named units. It's because they don't refer to a specific singular entity.
So you can run more than 4 of these?
Oh, I see what you mean. Ox deck is kind of exempt. You can have as many copies of a thing as you want. Because the game treats these as a token entity. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's what Ox characters are. It's just a different name for a token.
Well, now I feel stupid.
You can have 2 different ones. Have them do 2 different things when you kind of need.
True. Not sure what to have this one do.
You could have one be attack and one be support.
That's true.
Like maybe one defends and the other one does damage.
Yeah, I could probably draw like a force field around this one. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll do that. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome, brother.
One thing I like to do is actually add like space auroras, because I don't like the idea that space isn't colorful. I don't know why it wouldn't be. There's like free floating gases and stuff.
Those areas are colorful. That's been proven on like recorded imagery.
And that's why I go ahead and add the color anyway.
Might as well.
Love you, bro. Alright, so with this one, gonna try and get some water-like appearance in here. See what we can do to make this look like wilder. We've got an add layer here. Oh! We're not seriously done, are we? We'll add a little bit more detail, because otherwise that's just dumb. Can't be done that fast. Let's see what we can do. We're going to go a bit small with this charcoal brush. And then we're going to go over here. Get a bit of this going on. Oh, ice. There could be ice on this planet. Maybe part of it is insanely warm. The other one is frozen solid. Get some like spikes of ice right there. So yeah, this is like a half tropic, half frozen world. That's cool. We're gonna get a more like warm water appearance on this side if possible. Go a bit more like have some weird liquids. Yeah, get the colors blended in there. That's what I'll do. I have some like very strange stuff going on with this one. Very mysterious world. That's what you want, is for your art to be mysterious. Interesting. Because later I can turn this into an actual planet in the lore. Yeah, that thing, ooh, that thing looks crazy for having spent like 3 minutes on it. Maybe not even that long. So yeah, we got some good stuff going on here. All I gotta do now is just add some extra stuff above these. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this clipping group and merge group. So now it's all one thing. That reduces the amount of layer clutter you have. Yeah, this is looking awesome. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add that layer on top, make it a hard light layer so that it actually doesn't cover up our planets too much. And I'm just going to go looking for a brush because I like experimenting. I'm going to take this one here. What's this called? Or am I going to take round fringe? I don't know, I don't think that's cringe. I think it's fringe. I speak fringe. There we go. Just do some weird stuff here. Get the color in there. And what we can do after that is add some like space rocks that are just powdered through. So I'm going to go back to this one and make this brush a bit bigger and actually go like with all the stuff I just added. There we go. Don't do it too much, just so that you leave some of that original identity in there. Yeah, ooh, I like where that went. Okay. Get some like big old color ribbons. I'm gonna make sure not too much of it is colored or covering that world. Yeah, that looks cool. Okay. So now we're going to actually add little bits of space rocks here. I think the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take one of these graphite brushes. I'm going to make it just like a almost black reddish color. And we're gonna go like, because you know, of course there's just space debris here. We gotta make it look bigger the closer it is. And instead of making this look just like a stain or something, I'm going to use the eraser. One really cool thing about digital is you can turn any brush into an eraser. And because of that, you can get some really weird shapes, which is extremely beneficial. So like what I'm going to try to do here is find a brush that is very friendly for what I'm trying to do. Let me see, not this one. One of these pixel ones could definitely work, because it will look like, yeah, this one looks great for this, because it looks like there's a bunch of tiny rocks, but there's so many of them. Alright. But is that exactly what I want? I'm not sure. I can always either undo or add more different kinds of brushes. See, I think what I'm going to have to do is where it gets in front of the planets, I'm going to go and just like push it out of the way a little bit. Yeah. Because I don't want it covering them up too much. Let's see. Yeah. Just kind of destroy them. Get some like irregularity in their placement so that you don't have an actual pattern. Because space rocks would never really be in a pattern most of the time. They're free-flowing debris. Alright. Yeah, that looks cool. I like this. And I don't know if this giant here really needs rings or not, you know. We can add the rings. I'll try different brushes here and see what works for that. I'm gonna make the rings just like a yellow. Oh, well, I already found the brush that works for that. Okay. That's cool. What I can do here is I can... Oh, did not mean to change the color. There we go. I'm going to get just a little swoop that doesn't look too asymmetrical. There. And I think what I can do here is I can grab one of these brushes and use it as an eraser again. Get it a little smaller than that. That's a little insane. There we go. Around the edges, this will look like it's breaking apart and diffusing rather than all being one solid thing, which is generally how little bits of ice and dust are going to behave. It's never going to be like one solid piece of stuff. That looks crazy. That looks pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. And now that the background is complete, I'm actually going to go ahead and save it as its own separate thing. Yeah, we'll save it as a PNG. just gonna call it Starscape. Just call it whatever. But yeah, I think this looks pretty good. Pretty crazy for having only spent 30 minutes on it. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun too. So now, I'm going to decide on what to make. And what spacecraft I'm going to make. Because I know before I was completely sold on what I was going to do, but now I'm getting some different ideas. I might be able to make the actual BABEL base part. Since I've learned that, no, I forgot what I was going to do. I remembered now, though. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a different type. It's one of these with a shield barrier. Okay. So we're going to make an actual force field generating spaceship. And what I'm going to do is pretty fun, honestly. I'm just going to make a black rectangle. Using this polyline tool, you can do all the heavy lifting with just this. So we're going to do a kind of crazy perspective thing here, and I'm going to go really small back here. Like that. That's exactly what I wanted. So now, I can do all of the additional color stuff on top of this by making a clipping group. I can get the gold shades that I want. So for gold, you want to go somewhere between an orange and a yellow, and not ever go like fully saturated with it. You want to get some like more white and darker colors blended in there. So there we go. I think this is what I want. And now I'm going to take one of these brushes here, make it really big, and just go all over it. And that's where we can start doing the additional layering with darker colors and lighter colors, and really just get it to start looking like metal. Get it looking metal, yeah! Yow! Alright, forgot to turn on the alpha. Like me, gotta be the alpha. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna bring this up a bit so I can actually see. Now I can start using these wonderful brushes. Really just get that thing looking like metal. Really just get it looking insane. Honestly. Yeah, there we go. Already, I want that little bit of light color there to stay. Might be able to do something a little bit like, yeah, with it. Yeah, I like that. That looks cool. Now we can do another layer. Make it the heat glow, because I like that one a lot. And really just put some color here. Maybe here. Because that picks a good even distance between these areas where the light is hitting more, and leaves shadow in the middle. Shadow. Okay. I'm just gonna go with a smaller brush, get some more visual interest in here this time. Go all the way to the corner over there, and then just really put your shoulders into it. Go all the way across. I'm gonna go another direction with it. I'm going crazy with this thing. That's starting to look like metal. The final touch I usually like to do to make it look like metal is just have a normal layer on top, it was just solid white. And you can use like a calligraphy brush of some sort and just pick an area, get like a little circle in here or a little oval of some kind. Sometimes you can just go all the way around the edge or come to a point like that. Get like a sharp little edge that really feels like metal. Even if it doesn't look exactly like it, it feels like metal. And with art, the feel is the important thing. Like that. That looks crazy. And beneath that layer, I'm actually going to put this really neat little thing that I made. You always want to have these little placeholders, these little resources that you can drag and drop, and you can make those separately. So one that I've made for these is this little paneling thing that's kind of like the Death Star panels. Feels like little metal panels. So what I can do with this is I can go ahead and turn on that alpha clipping, or I might do it afterward. You want to go to your transform tool, and I can right click it and set it to perspective, and because of that I can drag these little anchors here and actually position them where I want them so that it can follow the perspective that I've already created. And once you do that, it will just kind of do the rest for you, really. I think I want it right here. Yeah, that looks really solid. And what I can do now is turn on that alpha clipping and potentially put this below some of my other color layers so that it looks more natural. Maybe not below too many though. Yeah, I think that is really solid. So now that that is how I want it, all I've really got to do is find out what kind of thing I want on here that will be generating the force field. Although before that, I could go ahead and add the base part, because this is basically a brick. It's part of the Tower of Babel. So it's going to just be a brick. Big old brick. Huh. Okay. I'm going to make a new layer. And then I'm going to grab just my little thin pen brush. This little precision ink brush. And I'm going to go back to my polyline tool. I'm just going to take a corner, go right here. Since that's further away, it's going to need to be closer to the actual panel. It goes further out and out here, lined up with this. Then here, right there, looks perfect for 3D. Okay. And then we can just connect these points, because this layer is behind the other one. So now we've got this basically perfect shape that looks like it was made in Blender. And I would shade this, but stylistically it kind of matches the black lines here for the paneling, and I think it looks good. So it also makes my job easier. So yeah. Just gonna go ahead and find some way to make a little barrier generator. Might make it some kind of little pylon with a base under it. So I'm gonna make this little black base. And I'm going to go over and use this calligraphy thing here so that it turns it into like a panel. There we go. think it needs to be centered better, so I'm going to start further back. I'm going to go here, 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 and then there. There we go. Now it kind of looks like it's a raised surface. It follows the perspective better. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. Alright, we're gonna make this. Yeah, I was gonna have like a. No. We'll go ahead and make it come out. We'll make it come out. I'm going to make another shape here. Just have it come up. Like this. Could potentially even have like a couple of them. There we go. And the reason I'm doing this is I want them to, at the top, actually have this red lightning energy come out and create like a blanket over it to kind of demonstrate the skill that this thing will have. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to create another quick clipping group. I'm going to make it this gray color. And I'm going to go over it like this. Take the smudging brush. Just kind of give it some like, yeah, some of that. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and make it start blending into a bit of red at the top. Let's see. Here, we're going to get some red in here. And I'm also going to make a straight up very hard line here that goes from the top down to the inside. I'm going to try to figure out the best way to do it. Let's say maybe we just use the calligraphy one again. Might be a little too thick. Pretty thick. Let's go looking for another brush, actually, since I don't fully know which one to use here. There we go. Yeah, I think that looks good. It's like it's going up to the top, heating up this section here, which is why it's more reddish. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick maybe this brush, fill out this red at the top, really make this one that's closest go down the furthest. Try to sell that perspective a little better. Realistically, this one and this one should probably be a bit shorter. I might actually do that because I can still take the base layer here and I can take this brush. I can just go ahead and turn on the eraser and just make it a bit larger. Go over the top here. Just try to recreate this shape over here as best I can. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I think that's much better. I'm going to turn the eraser back off. Oh, wrong layer. There we go. I have to be using this brush. There we go. So yeah, that works. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to make another layer after I merge this group. Alright, I'm gonna maybe have a spot where the energy peaks. Yeah, that makes it look like it's actually flashing and doing something. Now I'm going to take these incredible, very incredible, I cannot overstate how incredible this is. These brushes that are just straight up the thing that I want without me having to draw it. They're generating the energy now. And I'm going to go ahead and above this, I'm going to make a sort of, yeah. I'm going to make another big rectangle. I'm going to have it go like this. There we go. So I'm going to, yeah, put this in here, in there. Make it look like it's, I need it to go down actually. That's just so that it kind of looks like a thing that's blanketing this. And I'm going to actually bring it down a little bit, because I don't really want it covering this cool planet back here. And I'm going to put this behind our spaceship, now that I'm thinking about it. And I've got that really cool water brush that will actually look like surging energy flowing through this. So all I gotta do is put a quick clipping group on it. I think. I don't fully know why it went fully. Maybe this needs to be? Okay, the whole clipping group needs to be that way instead of just this layer. So yeah, I think I can actually, yeah, go and put this on top of that now. Yeah, that just straight up looks like energy now. Alright, and I'm going to add an add layer that's like maybe white or something. Forgot that, turn on the alpha again. But yeah, I'm thinking I'll do this, get this brush going so that we can kind of blend those colors more, get it looking smoother. But yeah, I want it to look like this is a solid object made of dense light, which is actually a technology that I came up with that is hard light, essentially. But yeah, that looks pretty solid there. And I'm going to do a bit more over here. There we go. It's already looking pretty awesome. And I think my final touch that I'll do for this is I'm going to add this other lightning brush that is really awesome. After I merge this clipping group, of course. Going to add a new layer here that is going to make the brush size a bit smaller, maybe 29. But yeah, this brush literally changed my life. It's actually so good. You can literally draw a path to where you want it to go. I'm going to make sure this is a bit better because you want lightning to always be connected to another source of electricity. So like if it branches out, it needs to actually touch the other lightning. Otherwise it's just not going to look right. So I got to make sure I do this good. There we go. So now it looks like this is actually being generated by the generator. And I'm going to add a bit more color, like on the points of contact. But I'm going to do it in a way that is logical, if possible. I'm going to add some color and then smudge it, like blur it a little bit. There we go. I'm going to actually use this smudger this time. But after making it smaller because it just obliterated my lightning, which is not what I want. But yeah, I'm gonna make it look very angry. I'm gonna make this energy look like it's furious. Really bring some life to it. Like, yeah. You always want to feel your art when you're making it. Really just be like, yeah. And if you've got like a lot of stuff that you're angry about, or that you've been angry about, you can just go, yeah. Just put that in your art. That way your art is literally alive. Doesn't just feel alive, it is at that point. So I try to make sure it always feels that way. Speaking of, this edge here is too smooth on the outer part of it. We ain't gonna have that. I'm gonna rough it up in a minute, because this is a spaceship piloted by robo-demons. A whole legion of them. So, makes no sense to have it just look like really gentle. No. That is not gonna slide. Alright. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to this layer. Yeah, that's the one. And I'm just gonna rough it up. And get it looking a little crazy around the edge, like, yeah. There we go. That'll make it feel more like a just barely stable energy field anyway, which is what I want. There we go. Alright. So now, I believe this drawing may be complete. I really like the way it turned out. And, got to show off some cool little techniques that I use. And yeah. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.